Wednesday, November 1st, 2023, 6 p.m. Calling the Board of Health meeting to order. Is anyone recording this meeting? See no one. And LakeCAM is taping this meeting. First on the agenda is 40 Lakeside Ave. Meet with Foresight Engineering to discuss Lakeville regulation variance request.
Evening, Darren Kalis, Foresight Engineering, here on behalf of the property owners. Working on Lakeside Ave, new construction. We have a steep slope to deal with as far as our water table. Tried several different layouts. Putting the house behind the septic kind of defeats the purpose also. Gets the house almost 4 feet out of the ground in the back corner. So we all know it's a perched water table out there. Usually in the summer there is no water. Even when we did the perks we didn't see water. It's mainly just a slow weep or a muddy layer, what we call the models. So the homeowner would love to put the house in the ground, which requires a variance from you guys for your 2 foot. Front of the house would be 18 inches below the perched water table. The back of the house would be 18 inches above the perched water table. Due to the slope, we have the ability to put a small basin down gradient so we have daylight. We can easily put the foundation drain in with the stone under the slab. Take care of that perched water when it does come down the hill. I would expect that we're really only going to see water during really heavy storms coming out of that pipe.
I didn't have too much. We're gonna rely on you or Brady on this one.
Yeah, I tried 3 different layouts. I put the house behind the septic, I put the house in front of it, meeting your requirements, and it's just so far out of the ground because of the slope. We're actually putting the back of the house on almost 2 feet of fill. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Doesn't have a gravity system that can almost feed under the slab down slope. This makes it more of a normal yard in the front, sloping off in the back. They still need 1 retaining wall. Again, it's just because we're fighting the slope. You can see how much the contours are dropping.
This is a sold, this isn't for sale, this is the owner wants
These are
to
the
do
owners,
this.
yep. Yeah, and he's here also, the owner, Matt.
And I know you've been in a couple times already, probably in the past year for the
Yep.
same variance.
Yep, they know that I have that reputation now. They know that it's a doable thing, so they asked me to go for it. And it's one of those things, they have no problem with the deed notice, so that everyone who buys the property realizes that you were granted a variance, and if you have water in your basement, it's your own peril. I would not expect any water in the basement. I know the house down gradient's been built now, and he cut into that slope, but during the wet season, he had a slow weep coming out of there. It was consistent, but it's a slow weep. It's not like it's a true water table flushing up into the foundation. It's just the water running down the hill.
Again, I think I've said it to both the other ones we've granted, I'm not in favor of it, I would never do it for my house, I don't think it's a good idea to do this, but.
I know I live in a house that was built in 90, it's 2 feet below the water table, I have a full foundation drain, and I have sumps, which really stinks when the power goes out. I have to have my generator, but I've never had a problem, no mold. It's one of those things they didn't care about in the past, and now we're really cautious of it, but.
Right.
No, and I think about like the house I live in now, 2010, all the floods, you know, that house high and dry. There was water in my basement.
Yep.
So I just think of that, you know.
And again, I know this property being the former owner.
Yeah.
I plowed this driveway for probably almost 25 years. I've seen the water in there.
Yep.
What it looks like in the wintertime, and it is flooded everywhere going into that place. It's like you're driving up on a little peninsula through water.
It's really flat areas, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's hard.
If it's
Before you go
graded
down the
properly, like we're gonna do the yard, the water will shut off properly and go down the hill. Cause I do agree with you, it's a tough area. I mean, we have wetlands up gradient of us, so we know that it's trapped. It's because of the soils are just so tight, and that soil on top that we perk disappears, and it just gets hard as a rock the closer you go to a Lakeside Ave.
My truck had to get pulled out of there. I sunk so deep plowing them out one time.
Truck had to get pulled out of that
Because it
driveway
was
also.
so wet there.
Because I went off the side of it, one of the
Yeah.
ditches. So I know the driveway.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where really we're putting a foundation, you know,
Right.
1.5 feet in the ground.
Why didn't you do a walkout?
It is.
We tried to do a walkout. This is a reverse walkout almost. It's a it's a gravity. The walkout ends up, when you gotta put the system, then you're almost 3 feet out of the ground in the back of the house. That's what I'm saying, is the slope is so steep that by the time I go from the front of the house to the back of the house, I'm above grade. So I'm actually leaving my septic pipe leaving underneath the slab for a walkout with a 3-foot water table. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And we know it's just a perched water table. Well, I think where we have daylight, we have plenty of room and storage down gradient. We have plenty of runoff. We're 400 feet from the pond. All the water runs down that lane right now anyways.
Any other questions on that one, Bob?
Yeah, anything, Bob?
I don't,
No,
again,
I just think 18's a lot in the back. I don't know if the other ones we did were that much. I mean,
I think we went to a foot on one of them, the other one we left,
Right on top. Yeah. Right at the water
we
table.
left.
yeah,
Again, you
just
get another,
people coming and going deeper and deeper. I mean, just, I don't know. Like I said, I had to get towed out of there once, so I know that's, in the winter, that's terrible there.
yeah, there's a lot of water coming down Lakeside, there's a lot of
Yeah.
water, there's no doubt it's. Um,
Can I talk a minute?
Yep.
I'm Jeff from the Terra and Sons Excavation.
Yep.
So it's my family that's gonna be doing some work over there, and I'm probably gonna be the one doing the site work. If you look at the elevations where the house is located, I know what you're talking about where it's flat. I know the property pretty well. Where this area is, it's actually not flat.
It's a steep slope.
It's a steep slope, so, I mean, I get it over here being stuck in your truck and stuff, I get that side of it. I dug the foundation as well as did the septic, in the wet season. We weren't playing in water definitely weeps out of the hill. But also, being a builder myself as well, the precautions we were gonna take also is, to rubberize, seal coat the foundation with the rubberized seal coating, and then the interior wall is going to be spray foamed with closed cell insulation. So it can't penetrate the insulation. It could, technically, if the rubberized coating leaked, it could run down the back, run through the crack in the concrete over the foot and into the stone, but technically you have 2 lines of defense. And then we were also going to do a stone French drain around the outside as well as the inside, and then do a 6-inch drain pipe. I mean, the water stands around 8 to 10 feet, so we're not in standing water, and the weeping water is definitely controllable. I mean, we kind of had to control it on the prior house, just coming out of the hill at ground level. It was just coming out like constantly.
Yeah,
coming
where our
out.
old house was, that's steep because he built
Yep.
right below that.
So it's
so-
really just
Down.
trapping the water, and it's flowing down, no matter what, it's gonna come down there anyway, I mean. But where this is on a slope and stuff, I really don't think it's gonna be a problem. My first house I built was in water, and I would never wanna deal with that again in my life, but I really don't think this is gonna be much of a problem here. A lot of times you can't get out to gravity, you know what I mean? And you can gravity out here, so as long as that pipe stays cleared, I mean, I really don't think it will be a problem if the problem's addressed appropriately, you know?
No,
Just my opinion.
I know in the last one, Darren, you proposed a French drain, or you were gonna put, it wasn't on the plan, but they were gonna do something up higher on the last one you brought, or they gonna?
Oh, that was, they did a swale, so here we're kind of, just our driveway is gonna be our swale. I mean, the water's gonna run down and go around the sides of the house. There's really, if you look at the slope, there's almost no water that's gonna actually hit the front of this foundation overland. It all goes right now either towards the stone wall to the south. That's pretty much where it runs. It runs on that stone wall and goes all the way down to the water. There's a little walkway there. You can, and then it washes out the driveway down by the beach house from the other property.
Yeah, the walkout, the other layouts we had, the walkout was just, I mean, it was a wall and a wall and a wall.
Yeah, it's just.
And then
so
they're gonna
much.
have kids, there's no backyard, then there's no front yard, it's a slope, right, all the water's just driving at the house, and then the amount of fill and material was just gonna be really pricey too on that end of it, so. I mean, we talked about it a bunch of times.
Yeah,
and
like I
I
said, I
feel
did
like
agree
this
for
was
the
the
layout.
best,
Yeah, I feel like
option, you know.
economically and engineering wise, it seemed to make the most sense for the site without having 6 retaining walls behind the house to catch the slope, because I'm just fighting that slope the whole way down.
Right.
So this is just 1 3-foot wall behind the septic after it slopes off, and be a lot more manageable for the owner. And then we have the basin, and we still have all this daylight before it even gets down to the pond. We have 425 feet before it reaches anything that's gonna stop it from going.
Yeah, it's gonna go to the pond anyway. so
Yeah,
I'm
as long
not
as the pipe is
concerned
clean
about
and that
it's
basin
going
is
to
really
the pond.
nothing.
Definitely manageable. I mean, I've put houses in the high water table when I thought it should never be done, and I wouldn't have did it, but people have done it, you know?
And we can tie the
This is
gutter
man-
drains into this too, so it goes right into that basin, so everything in the site is directed over there, so we're not washing out our wall.
Just be careful about.
The gutter
gutter
drains,
drains,
yeah,
because
I
you can
think
back
we-
it back up.
Yeah,
and you can
correct,
overlook
yeah,
that
you
on
wouldn't put
side.
the gutter drains in
Yeah,
your
I
footing
keep
drain.
that separate.
It's okay to run it over there, but I would
Alright.
definitely not
Slow
tie it
down
on the
that
same
road.
site.
They'll just probably just
You're
direct it
putting
towards the
water.
stone wall then.
If something ever happened, right,
Yeah, well, the elevation.
run two
difference,
pipe,
too.
2/6
Yeah,
out.
it's such a, we're at 136 and we're at 124, we got a 12-foot drop from the front of our house to the basin.
It's a great idea to tie the drain gutters in, but I would
Yeah.
definitely not recommend tying into that same pipe.
Yeah.
Run 2/6.
No, not
Yeah,
the
you
same.
could run a different pipe, we have a
So
clean
they're
out
not
there, you could tie it right
Dropping at
there.
your footing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you guys wanna do, but I didn't love going to at grade. Then we gave one for 12 inches, now we're back at 1.5 feet. What's next month, gonna be 2 feet? I mean, we gave one for 12, so I'll probably give one for 12 again, but I don't think this is a good idea, so. But you guys can do whatever you wanna do, but,
I'm on the same page, I don't
yeah,
think it's.
I just don't wanna keep going deeper and deeper. We try to help somebody, then the next guy comes in and wants more,
Because
and then
they're
the
all
next
the
guy
same
comes in.
sites, I mean, these are all
and
that
they
are
want
left of these
more.
marginal sites with perched water table.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, not a
the
lot
first of the
times
last
you're on
two
a
you
slope.
brought, we thought that was gonna be the only one.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
now it's, the
yeah,
floodgates are open.
everything's that way, we all know that as engineers, as soon as someone gets something passed, the next person wants to go for it too, but it's a matter of if it works, it's the same as the drainage pond, you know, we work out in Plain Street in Middleborough where the soil's as hard as a rock, we built the drainage pond that's 2 acres large and there's never any water in it. So you're talking about a perched water table where the water really isn't there 90% of the year.
I
It's
mean,
not a water table, your regulation says water table, it doesn't say perched water table, it says groundwater.
Yeah, but even if it is only there.
Title 5
90% of the
considers
year-
it perched groundwater, but your regulation doesn't say that. It says
Even if it isn't
groundwater.
there only 98% of the year, it's gonna flood once a year.
We know that, but that's not what your regulation says. It doesn't say perched water table, it says actual water table.
And I agree with you guys. I mean, I see what you see, you know what I mean? But
Right,
if it was a flat lot or there was like, I would completely agree, but working over there with an
We got an
excavator,
80-foot drop to the pond.
I mean, I just don't see it being a problem. There's no way this foundation will ever have water. There's no way.
Chris?
That's just, I mean, and
Right.
it's a
Maybe
unique
we should stick
situation.
to
It's
this
not like every other lot that's a flat
Right.
lot, you know?
I think I'm kinda with Bob.
You know, we've been flexible, I don't think we should be more flexible. You know, so
12
maybe
is-
stick to the 12.
Okay.
So you even coming up 6, you only had 1.5 foot foundation showing in the
Yeah,
front,
yeah,
so
I
you're
can-
really not like you already have
No,
3
I-
feet and you,
I'm just asking for a variance. You guys
Right,
can
yeah.
vote how you vote. I
and that's still a
understand,
3
you know.
foot swing, you're supposed to be 2 above, so you're talking 3 feet.
Yep, I'm just asking for what I'm asking for. It's like every
Again, with
engineer, we try and do the best for our client, and that's what we're asking
With the
for.
deed restriction, it'll be on the deed, everybody knows there's a drain.
Yep.
You've already recorded 2 of them. I guess, and you're the owner that wants it, again, don't recommend it, but that's what you
yeah.
want.
I agree. I mean, like I said, if I felt like I dealt with water, if I felt like it was gonna be a problem, yeah, I would definitely not.
And this is your house you're gonna be living in?
It's gonna be my sister's
This
house.
is his house.
Yeah, and he's already done the work for the one down grading, so he knows what
And
he's
my
dealing
other
with.
sister.
And that was much flatter where that house went. That's almost a flat
That's
field
flat.
area.
You know, this is, the whole house is on a hill, you know what I mean? Yeah, I guess, you know,
Yeah,
I wouldn't base it
I'll
off
go
of
to 12 if
plowing,
you guys wanna do
getting
12, but
stuck.
That's good.
Yeah. with the deed.
Okay.
can you make it? I'm
Yeah,
not
if you want.
You can give us-
I make a motion to approve 40 Lakeside Ave regulation variance request to the water table with the foundation basement elevation. We are going to allow it to be,
So it'd be 131. 130.5 would be the new base.
to elevation 130.5, which is 1 foot below the water table at the highest elevation. And with a deed restriction,
Yep.
recorded that showing it has a drain and it was lowered into the water table. and,
I'll
must be
submit a plan
maintained.
with all that data today for you.
Alright, I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Did yes the people?
Oh. Does anyone else
I don't
have a
think
comment about this? I didn't think anyone
No
did.
butters for this one.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Thank you.
thanks.
Next on the agenda is 63 Kingman Street, meet with Zenith Consulting Engineers to discuss requested Lakeville Board of Health waiver.
Last one, Bob.
It's up to you, Dennis.
For the record, Miles Ager from Zenith. So here before you for a septic upgrade at 63 Kingman Street. We were luckily able to meet all the setback requirements to wells, property lines. We were able to meet the separation of water table. Overall, pretty, fairly easy site. As you're aware, you have a regulation, a local regulation that doesn't allow a tank over 20 years old. So currently, there's an existing 1,500 gallon tank. It was like 20 years and like 2 months old. We're proposing to try to keep that. The current homeowner would like to try to keep it and put it where what we're proposing is another 1,000 gallon tank in series. So it still meets the requirement for the 2 compartments, and we're basically just asking for that variance from your regulation. Obviously, it'll have to be pumped and inspected during construction to confirm that it's watertight, and we're willing to do so. Just here before the board asking for your permission.
Right, so when I look at this I don't see any extreme hardship other than just trying to save some money on the cost of the newer tank, right? I mean, they gotta buy one tank. Might as well just spend a little extra money and put in the full-size tank is the way I look at it. Some of these have come before us before, there was some extreme hardships and stuff, and they were relatively close to the same age. And, we were maybe a little bit lenient then, but, yeah, it's protection. I mean, are they selling this? Yes. It's protection for the homeowner, the next homeowner coming in. That's the way I look at it. I don't know if anyone else, what do you guys got about this?
Just on the date, it's 21 years in a month, correct?
Yeah, so the as-built is from October 3rd, 2002. So it would be 21 years.
21 years in a month, just to clarify that one.
All we're doing is changing 1,000 gallon septic to a new 1,500, right?
Yeah, so I don't know, I'm kinda on the, where do we draw the thing?
I don't know we've waived many for 20 years.
I think there might be 2, I think we've looked up. And one was a monolithic H20, which for an H20 tank's much longer. Again, but I also priced the 2 tanks, just for, value. I mean, like you said, you still gotta dig the hole, you still gotta stone it, still got the tees, you still got the covers, all that's the same. So 1,000 gallon tank with shade concrete online is $1,000, the other one's $1,750. So there is a $750 savings, but again, you're talking if this system lasts another 21, 22 years, you've got a 40-year-old tank, 44-year-old tank.
Oh.
I don't know.
I'm not for it.
Yeah, I mean, these keep coming before us, and I think we're worried about protecting the homeowner down the road. And, like you said, 40 years old, if it was to stay in there. I don't see any extreme hardship to this. Does anyone else have anything to speak? Anybody else want to speak to this?
Can you clarify my name is Tracy Judah from 63 Kingman. Can you clarify the date that was put in? I thought it was 2003.
Yeah, so we have an as-built that was submitted on October 3rd, 2002.
Okay.
And that's where we got the date.
I thought we were 2 months over the 20 years. No?
Yeah, I think there was a discussion in the field and we thought that, but when I went home and I went back to the office and I pulled the file, this says 2002. So that's where we got the date.
And again, if you missed it by a month or 2,
I don't even know that, because
I
they're already
know.
changing the tank.
I mean, you're still gonna do all
You're
the
still
work to
adding
dig
the
it?
tank, you're doing 90% of the work anyway, you're saving $700 on the new people. Like, that's not a hardship. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta get the truck to the same spot, you
You
know.
gotta do everything, you gotta do all the same work, the labor, which is more than the tank,
I mean,
just
the
to
other,
save the tank.
yeah, I'm just throwing this out there, one of the, I know, again, different board, back in the day when, there was options where there was, if we kept the tank, we would put in instead of the tank in series, we would put a commercial filter in, a larger filter, and then obviously we would eliminate putting in any new tank at all. That is an option, and then that would be a huge cost savings, but again, that doesn't eliminate the age of the tank. I'm just saying that it has been done. I know it had been done in the past. So that's just, I guess, we felt as though, and I know there was conversation had in the field. I wasn't there, so I wasn't privy to it, but, I guess there was conversation had, and that's why we were asked to come and ask for it. But that is an option as well, that we could look into. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that that's an end all be all,
Right.
solution, but it has been done.
I'm not
Yeah.
doing that either for
I'm not
$700, so.
Anything enough to make me change my mind on this, or go away from the regulation.
Me either.
Yeah, I think I'm probably, I guess, with both of you, you gotta do all the work, and then you get 2 tanks out there, which one's better than 2. So you're adding another whole cover, then you gotta have 4 covers out there. Yeah, like you said, you gotta draw the line somewhere at the years, it's so very good. Again, I know we've done 1 or 2, but it
Yeah,
would
but
definitely.
H20's twice as.
Yeah, and that
like,
was the bottom of a
H20
hill,
can
where there's a
last
train
way
of wall
longer.
you couldn't get to. There was a lot of reasonings why that one went by, but I don't remember any others.
May I add something again?
Yep.
So, we do have a wall that.
You're welcome to come up and sit
Oh,
down.
I'm sorry. We do have a wall that has to be removed. We were told by the company that came in and did the excavation for the perk test. He stated that there would be a retaining wall on the side of the in-law that has to be removed, and fencing has to be removed. So we do have that added cost. We also have, we were under the understanding it was just a 500-gallon tank that would have to be put again with that other tank. I wasn't aware of the 1,000 gallons.
So they don't make there's not really a septic tank that they make for a 500 gallon. The 500 gallon would meet the minimum requirement, but there's none that, in the precast that we can get that would meet the requirement.
Okay.
So it's 1,000 minimum.
Right, okay. I mean, the added expense would be obviously to remove the existing tank as well. I know it's only $750 difference, but the added cost of removing that other 1,000-gallon tank. I don't know what the cost of that is, but I'm sure it's not cheap.
Right. So that, she was correct on that point. It's probably another $400 or $500 dumping fee in the tank, just to clarify on that. But again, the retainer wall's gonna have to come down regardless whether that tank or any tank goes.
Yeah, because I think that's in general to do all the work,
Right.
they need to do all that, yeah.
Right, and that's what when you talk about $750 difference,
Yeah,
it actually is gonna be a lot more.
But that work's gonna be done no matter what, right?
That work, yes,
Yes.
but the removal of
Of
the
the old tank.
1,500-gallon tank, that is gonna be quite pricey.
Yeah.
That's about another $400, so I mean, in the whole scheme of things, we're at $1,200 or something. And all that, if that tank fails in 10 years, the people are gonna have to pull down the walls and the fences and go through all that expense just so you could try to save $1,000. I'm not gonna vote for it, it's up to these guys, but there's no reason to, on this case, to allow it to me.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think it's a big enough number to sway me.
No.
And I guess I'm kind of in the same, especially where it's being sold and there's gonna be a new owner there. And, not that a lot of the new ones, are all up to new code, and that 20 years isn't that old, but, if in 39 or 40 years that old one collapsed, that is a safety hazard too. Lawnmower went through it, it decided to break and fall in. And then they say there was a variance granted to save that tank when we had a reg to take it out. I just don't. That's why the reg's on the books. I don't know. I think I'm with you guys.
Yep.
I make a motion to deny the, leaving the existing septic tank on the proposed plan at 63 Kingman Street and require them just to go with a 1,500 two-compartment, new septic tank.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 8 Second Ave, meet with Zenith Consulting Engineers to discuss request of local upgrade approvals.
Again, for the record now, Digger from Zenith. This was before the board, a few years ago. It's since expired, so we're back before you
Stay for a
reviewing it.
few minutes, we'll see how it goes.
I did some research within the records to confirm that there weren't any, and I went and did a site walk as well. There's always a big concern, especially out in this area, is if anything is, changed. So I did research and everything seemed to be exactly as is, and as it was back then, so. The variant, local upgrades that we were requesting, the 4 of them, remain exactly the same. We were asking for a reduction from 2 holes to 1 hole, just because of the limited area in the back of the property. We were asking for a reduction from 100 feet to 80 feet from the rear, the well on the rear property here, from Roberts, which is at 5 Third Ave. And then we had a reduction from 20 feet to 10 feet from the existing building foundation to the septic. We're proposing a liner along that side, just to ensure that there's no breakout to it. And then lastly, we're asking for a reduction from the septic tank in the crawl space from 10 feet to 7 feet. And again, we have a liner proposed there. Other than it being restamped and updated and confirmed, it's exactly the same as what was granted previously.
What year did we grant it?
That's a good question. 22, actually, it was in
January 22.
January 22.
Did you send out re-notifications and stuff?
Yes.
Did we get those cars back?
I believe Jen gave them, but
I don't think I did.
I might have them in here.
I know they were sent out, I just didn't get them back.
So what, did it just run out? I thought these were good for 2 years.
No, for repair, especially a cesspool, is 1 year. So it's 2 years
That's a
from,
local rate.
2 years from the time they failed, which was November of 2021. September of 2021. Thank you.
So they just went over the 2 years?
Yeah, they went over the 2-year Title V one. And they went over our 1 year one,
Yeah,
probably
We have a
7
1-year
months
local
ago.
reg,
yeah,
Yeah,
and they went
especially,
over 2 years.
yeah.
okay.
So we got that car back from that one abutter, right? They don't have, and someone from 5 Third Ave is in here tonight? Okay, just wanna make sure before, if they were heard
Are
before.
they gonna do it this time?
I hope.
That was gonna be my next question, is this gonna go forward?
Again, I can't, I'm just asked to update it, I believe they're going to, yes. I don't think they have much of a choice, so.
Okay, that's all I had. Do you have anything, Derek?
No, I mean, it's the same plan, and he updated it and checked all the wells again to make sure nothing changed out
Yes, sir.
there.
Bob, you got anything more?
Oh, I know there's a question, but I had, if we approve it, I don't wanna give them another year or 2. I mean, at some point it has to get fixed, so
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna keep approving it every 2 years and not do nothing.
Right.
That's how I feel anyway.
Well, that was my question, if it was already approved, why is it up again? Is it,
They did install it,
Things happen.
and the plans run out. these are only, there's a time. From once we stamp it approved, it's only good for so long. 1
What
year,
happens in the meantime?
they just keep using it, correct?
They can use it.
Well, that's why I just said I didn't wanna give them another year or two, that's why if we're gonna approve it, and then if they don't do it in whatever time we approve, then, you know, I've only said this 3 times in 14 years, but that's when we start condemning the house, cause we're not just gonna let people subvert the laws just to keep the house not being condemned.
And this is, people living there, right? Fully-
It's actually, it's not occupied.
It's not occupied.
Well, it's occupied when rented, it's an Airbnb.
So now less time in my mind then. We're not even helping out a homeowner then.
Chris?
Is it the same owner of record that's doing this, put this through?
I believe so, yes, I believe it's been the same.
I'm just curious, when I heard Airbnb, I was thinking it was somebody who's been before us recently. Anyone else wanna speak to this? No? Do we wanna put a date on it?
I do,
You know, put a time limit, and if it's not done by then
yeah, I'm good to give them 6 months, and if not, then start having it condemn it, cause,
we'll
you
proceed
know,
with the
they're over
next
there
step.
now as for business, and they, you know, not following the laws, so this isn't even like some poor homeowner that can't afford to do something. These people didn't put it in when they were supposed to, and they're profiting from not putting it in, so, you know, I'll give them 6 months or something, but you guys can go longer if you want, but
Well, I think it's standards a year, right, Ed? It's only good for a year. Correct?
Typically, we give a year, and then if there is an issue with, whatever, it's winter time or something, they can't come in, they can come in and request, an extension, but that extension wasn't, requested, so it just expired. So like I said, if there are reasons, whether financial, whether weather-wise, we're always able to come before the board and ask for an extension. But if it expires, you have to go through the whole process again, and that's what we're
but now it's been failed for 2 years.
correct.
And is the old
And
system
no one
currently
lives
in
there,
the
they're
water
just
table?
renting it out for
Do we-
profit.
537, do we know that, Niles? Are we in the water table? Is this an old cesspool?
It's accessible, yes.
I almost
So-
wonder if this is one of the even older than that.
We didn't find a water table, so,
Okay, that's what I was trying to find. Just-
yeah, not over there.
There's
yeah,
no
we didn't
models,
find-
no water.
It's probably, we didn't record it there, but it's not that deep there, maybe 8-9 feet. I forget what the test.
Yeah, it's
were,
assumed
but
at
that's-
89.9, almost
So
90.
most likely it's not in the water table, I mean, again, I can't say for sure, but most likely it's not in the water
Yeah.
table, but if it might be close.
And again, cesspool's automatic failure anyway, right?
Correct.
So, yeah, I'm with you, 6 months. I mean, I think that if for some reason Lisa would have to come back in 6 months and
Yeah.
say why it's not in, and we can make a
I'm good with that,
determination.
then, for, 6 months, and if it's not done, then we'll go forward with the next step, which is condemnation, right?
Well, at least have, at least send
At
a
least
letter
have a
and say,
discussion.
why isn't this done? I'm fine with that.
Works for me.
I'll make a motion that based on the fact that they didn't install it for 2 years after we approved the last one, that we're gonna approve this one for 6 months to give them an opportunity to get it up to get it installed, and if not, we'll start condemnation procedures
And just say the address.
at 8 Second Ave.
Second?
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Niles?
He's still here.
He's next. Next to the agenda is 348, 350 Bedford Street, meeting with Zenith Consulting Engineers to discuss requested local upgrade approvals. Niles again?
For the record, now Zager from Zenith. So I was asked by the brewery to take a look at. They basically have an issue where they had an issue where, according to the plumber, they couldn't get the plumbing to work internally with the existing tanks that are located here. So there's an existing septic tank and grease trap located out in the front.
That are brand new.
That
It seems odd to me.
No, they're a little older. No, they
10
were
years old
capped.
now? Oh, they didn't change those?
I
They
don't
were the
believe-
original?
No, these were capped, these were raised up, they were, these were, and what's going on is that they're very high, and the elevation of where the plumbing inside, so the plumber, from what I understand, I don't know all the codes, but from what I understand, the elevations, we couldn't get the elevations internally to work to get them to that pipe. So
I
what
could
we,
have sworn they came before us. This is before the brewery was gonna go there. To put those two new tanks in, the new grease trap and the new tank, because they were talking about having food there, right?
Yeah.
And I thought those tanks went in brand new, right
They
around
are
the same time as.
Yeah, cause
It may
the
have
bank
been.
wouldn't have had a grease trap, there
No,
would have
those
been no
are-
reason for a grease trap.
I might be I might have
Remember when they
misspoke.
put them in, those new?
Yeah.
And I just find it weird that they're too high.
But they're, you know, to get the elevation, you know, I think what was done was, I know what was done was they tried to, there's a long run that runs from here, gravity, to the existing 4,000 gallon tank, and then that goes off into the system. So this is a long run, it's a couple hundred feet, 150, 200 feet, so,
Just work backwards.
and they ran it right at 1%, even a little, you know, it's tight, it was really tight, so they kept it up as high as they could, so they didn't have to do a pump, which I get, that's, as an engineer, and to keep costs down, that's what you do, you'd rather not have a pump, so that's what was done, and it was, I'm not saying there was anything wrong with it, but what's the problem is that internally, the plumber said, listen, for us to get this to work, I need 2 to 3 feet lower in elevation to be able to make it work, to be able to make everything inside work. It just does, I just can't make it work. He's like, by the time I run all my piping from one end to the other, it just doesn't work. So neither here nor there, we looked at it, came up with a few different scenarios. So the proposal is to add this 3,000 gallon 2 compartment tank and a 1,500 gallon pump chamber, obviously both H20 mono, because they're in the pavement. Basically what we're doing is we're gonna decommission these tanks, cap off the existing line, so this will just remain as is. We're just gonna cap it, put the new tanks in, pipe and force main over to that existing, to the existing tank here, 4,000 gallon 2 compartment tank. And what that allows us to do is it allowed us to drop everything, you know, a few feet and allow everything internally to work. What this also does, as you can probably see, this red line here is the 100 foot from Assawamsett Pond, 200 feet is the blue line here. So I was able to get over 200 feet with the 1,500 gallon pump, and I'm just under 200 feet with the septic tank.
Are you talking just for the grease trap tanks, or are you talking about changing all the septic tanks too?
That's gonna be completely removed. This is just going to be the 1,500 gallon, 3,000 gallon tank and the 1,500 gallon pump.
Just for the grease traps?
No grease
No,
traps.
eliminating grease trap.
So there's gonna be an internal grease trap at the bar because it was asked for. But besides that, there's no grease trap. No external grease trap. There's no proposal for that.
Alright, well, we don't permit grease traps, do we? Isn't that the plumbing code?
The ones out beyond 10 feet.
Oh.
The internal one is plumbing code,
That's correct.
that's through plumbing code that he's talking about.
That's correct.
And I don't think it's even in the plumbing code for what they're doing, but,
It's not.
cause they're not doing any food supposedly, they said absolutely no food.
That's correct.
Then why do they need a grease trap?
They don't, that's why they're getting rid of it.
That's what-
Well, the
Oh.
inside,
It was originally done because I think it was supposed to be maybe a Dunks or something like that, or
some
Honeydew.
sort of restaurant. The original.
When they put those new tanks in, when they came to us then.
Okay.
But yeah, the brewery's been before us before. They're not doing food. They're gonna have the truck out there, I guess.
And the internal one, I think, was through Ed, just cause he was concerned about cutting the fruits and the stuff for the drinks. And
Yeah, I mean, I realize they're not cooking inside, but to say that there's no food at all in the interior building, a lot of drinks have fruits and other things in them, so it's very possible that there will be food in there.
And I think the other question Ed had brought up too, I know the food cart's outside, so everything, there isn't gonna be any plates or any dishwasher or nothing like that inside, besides like just the one for the glasses. There's no plates gonna be in there, no silverware they're gonna be washing, nothing like that.
I can't speak on that.
Answer that. Sean Donnelly, 13 Berlin. Yeah, there'll be no plates inside, no dishwashing inside, just glasses. So everything in the food truck will be styrofoam or something like that, that will be thrown out along with plastic silverware, so no silverware either.
So it'd be trash receptacles inside for like,
Yeah.
say, sort of like McDonald's, so they eat out of it and then they throw them
Yeah,
out.
our servers will,
somewhere.
clean the tables, but there'll be no
They'll-
dishwashing or anything like that inside, just glass washing.
Okay.
I guess my other question was, doesn't look like the original tank was a 3,000. We upped the gallonage on that tank for some reason?
So we had called to find out what the flow rate was. I guess there was an approved flow rate that was designed for, but that was, the board had allowed, it was 960 gallons a day. So when you go to that, you do the 3 times, it puts you at a 3,000 gallon tank.
Because you calc all the other buildings now. For the whole property, is what you're saying?
No, just for this building.
Just for that.
It's 900 gallons just for that building.
960, I think 960 gallons just for that building. So you take that, you multiply it by 3, it puts you at a 3,000 gallon tank.
You didn't do that septic in the first place,
That's
did you?
correct.
No.
No, I have all the, the design plans and as-built and what have you.
Yeah, I remember there was an out-of-town guy that did that.
So the current tank is a 1,500?
That sounds right, yeah.
Okay. But we're not increasing the flow in the system, we're still meet
Yeah,
design flow,
the
that's all
pool-
I'm concerned.
we previously approved them for the 960, so
And that
that's.
kept them under the,
Yeah, so
gallons per day
because
of
the
overall system.
system was built with extra capacity.
Yep.
They redid the numbers and they found out there was like 960 still available, and that's how they determined the number of seats in the place based on the 960.
yeah, so as long as we're still under the gallonage, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Bigger tank's only gonna help them.
Yeah, we called that right away on that, because that was a question that we had, because obviously we weren't involved with it. We wanted to find out what was allowed for flow rate, so we weren't increasing, because we knew we couldn't. So that was what we determined to be.
At least now I know. I've got a bunch of people in town asking me why we're not letting them open, and I'm like, we're not stopping anybody from opening. I said, that septic was approved and installed years ago, so. Now that makes sense why, it was because of the grease trap and stuff, and nothing to do with the septic system, so.
And I guess the only other misprint on the plan is just on the tank itself.
Yeah, I was aware of that. Ed
Yeah,
actually
I
brought
think
that
Ed
up to me, and
brought that up.
I was gonna make
So-
the change, but I wanted to make sure that there wasn't gonna be any other changes before I make the change, but
Yeah.
tonight, that's all. So I'll absolutely fix that.
Does anyone else want to speak to this?
And just one quick question with the rubber booties, are we above, we don't need a variance of the rubber booties, where's the water table, 54? Okay, I see it, okay. Note 16. So you don't need that, so,
That's correct.
I'm okay with it.
yeah, I don't,
I'm good.
I'm saying anyone I know,
No,
the owners.
nobody else is.
Yeah, we always propose them anyway, just especially in this situation, but, I mean, they're good to have, but we don't have to ask for the 12-inch.
And with decommissioning the old tanks, any idea what they're doing with them? They're gonna try to remove them, flowable fill, or just, what are you doing with decommissioning?
I mean, I would recommend that we do full fill. I would fill them, at least minimum fill them in with sand, crush them, fill them in with
Were
sand.
they even tied into the building?
I'm sorry?
Were they even tied into the building?
Yes.
Okay, but I guess as long as they're decommissioned, however they wanna do it, whether they remove them or flowable fill them, or whatever their choice is, I don't think that'll matter. So Ed, have any?
No.
Go ahead, run it out.
I make a motion to approve the plan for 348, 350 Bedford Street, to relocate the septic tanks.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Should you grant I know you're accepting the plan, but should you grant the local upgrade request from the 200 for the septic tank within 200 feet of the tributary?
There's actually 2. You need one for each tank.
No, the other one is over 200,
Yeah, but it's within 400.
Oh, yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we should probably, how do we do that one, Bob? Do I take it back or just add one?
Just amend it, I guess, right?
I amend, is that on here, Niles, or?
I have to update it from actually, no, I have it in there, yeah, right here, local upgrade request, is cool.
It's over there on the right, there,
Okay.
on the little box.
Okay, approve, I'll start over. make a motion to approve 350 Bedford Street. To replace the existing septic tanks in a new location with the local upgrade approval of the reduction of required setback between the septic tank and pump tank to an existing, surface water supplies from 400 to 185. And what are you saying the other one, Niles?
So
would be?
205.
400 to 205 on the pump tank.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Stiles. Next on the agenda is 19 Johnson Drive, discuss with owners a requested 4-bedroom deed restriction. How you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
So I just go?
Yeah, just state your name for the record and, Yeah.
Jeff Bailey, Carrie Bailey, 19 Johnson Drive.
Okay.
So we are in the process of hopefully adding an in-law to our home. We moved here in 2018 and there was the home we bought in 19 Johnson Drive failed septic, Title V, so there's a brand new septic in there. We didn't, realize with adding the other rooms, what that entailed. So we understand now that based off of the number of rooms that we would have after we add the in-law, you're looking at something that can handle 6 bathrooms, I'm sorry.
With the bedrooms.
So what's that, 3,000 cubic feet? Am I wrong with that? How
For the
much,
6
is it
bedroom?
500 cubic feet for each, the septic for each?
330 gallons.
Okay.
It's 110 gallons per bedroom per day
Okay, I'm sorry.
is how they
So-
design the system.
Basically, we're looking to put a deed restriction on the number of bedrooms, just my wife and myself now, and it would be my 2 in-laws. And we understand that we would have to file that and to limit it to 4 bedrooms.
So the existing property that we have now, one of the rooms is already being used as an office, because we can't possibly sleep in 4 bedrooms, but when we moved in, it was an office, and we only have 1 adult child anyway. So, the upstairs of the Colonial, that is how it's been since the day we moved in. By adding, the in-law, as my husband was saying, we didn't realize that, we knew there was gonna have to be connectivity for the septic, we just didn't realize that was gonna be an additional expense. So, my parents are selling their home in Connecticut. They live on the Connecticut-Rhode Island line in Griswold, Connecticut, and they have very modest means, so they're putting money towards this in-law, and so are we. So we did not want to have to expand upon the septic that was just put in 5 years ago. So the builder had reached out to Ed to come up with an alternative solution that was agreeable. So I don't know if you want to add anything else to it. I can't speak the technical terms, but.
I don't think it's a big deal. I just think when they go to sell, that's just gonna be maybe when they upgrade it and change it then, because they will obviously have,
How many bedrooms in
6
the house
bedrooms.
now?
right?
4. Yeah, the room that we use as an office, I'm a banker, so it has a 300-pound banker's desk in it, but it's a teeny tiny room. I'm sure that they put it that way to sell it as a 4-bedroom colonial, but you'd really only put
It's
a
a
nursery.
nursery or a day bed,
It's tiny.
probably.
It's
not
tiny.
even a-
So, but it is a 4-bedroom colonial as it stands now, and with the in-law, and we brought the plans with us as well for the in-law, but it'll have a kitchenette, dining, living room area, and it'll have a bedroom. So that bedroom puts us to the 5-bedroom mark. So apparently that puts us over the way the regulations.
And we understand when we sell the home, we have to list it as a 4-bedroom, and, that's just the way it is, and obviously you get paid on a 4-bedroom and not a 5 or a 6, and if they wanna increase the septic, that's up to them at their point, and they have to do what they do.
Our worry would be like, yeah, as much as you list it as, I mean, people are gonna use it as a 6-bedroom or a 5-bedroom, and the system can't handle it. That's the only worry you worry about over time. It's not so much about money for us.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Chris. Like you said, it's gonna be deed restricted to a 4. So they're looking to take one out of the main house and add it there. I know we've let it down when they've actually ripped the wall down, but that just seems pointless to me. I mean,
Well, it's just-
I don't,
Ed, did you look the as-built to the system? Is it an oversized 4-bedroom, or is it right at the
It's right at 4.
It's right at the fourth, because I know like, sometimes the field ends up being
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
you
a half.
almost,
But even with 5 though, you would have to go to a 2,000 gallon tank. So
That's-
the tank would be under
sure.
stress as well.
I remember back in the day, we've made people pull a closet out of the room they say they're not using for a bedroom anymore, so that would be another option to actually not have it be a bedroom anymore. Probably the cheapest option.
it's still under Title V though, it's still, closet doesn't come up under Title V, just find a bedroom, it's 70 square feet, ceiling height over 7 feet. Has to have a door. has
And
to
if
have-
I may, the closet that's in there is kind of strange. All the other bedrooms have, there's a walk-in in the master, and the other two have a very large. This has a very small, we actually have a filing cabinet in it. It's a very small closet. Could we take the door off? We can't. There's a filing cabinet in it, so it doesn't really matter. But it's not your traditional, it's appropriate for the room because the room is tiny.
And the way I guess I kind of look at these is, they're only gonna fail their own system. It's not hurting anybody else. If it's deed restricted on a deed to 4-bedroom, you're only gonna fail your system quicker if you stick people in 6 bedrooms or 5 bedrooms. It's only gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
But as long as it never gets sold and, 20 years down the road, a realtor didn't list this as a 5-bedroom and they come in and say, I've been assessed as a 5-bedroom and, again, the assessors still very well might take different view of this 4-bedroom deed restriction. They might charge you for a 5-bedroom.
Oh, I mean, for the property
Under
taxes.
assessed property. That doesn't mean it's a 5-bedroom to the Board of Health eyes. It just means they
Right.
gonna count that as a bedroom. They don't.
Yeah, and it's,
And
I mean,
assess
to
it
be
that
honest,
way.
the means that my
So-
in-laws have and what we can afford, like, we can afford the extra taxes every year, but we can't afford ripping that tank or adding to that, it's just.
And where it's 2018, it's fairly brand new. I mean, if we were talking a 25-year-old system, we might not be on the same page, but it's brand new. It's day one.
I'm okay if you guys
No,
want
and
that.
if it wasn't the tank trigger too, right? Just be adding another row of chambers to the existing field.
But the tank
But
trigger.
the tank trigger, I understand, that's the big cost right there.
I don't have a problem.
I don't bother you
Yeah.
anymore.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, Title V does allow it. Like I said, it is in the definition of a bedroom that, if that's the case, you can do a deed restriction. So it's not out of the norm to do it.
Anyone else? Peanut gallery? No? Alright, I'm good.
I'll
Make-
make, go ahead.
Make a motion to approve, the variance request for 19 Johnson Drive and to have a deed restriction put on for a 4-bedroom deed restriction on the property.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Do I want somebody to second it?
Aye, sorry, I thought.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So Ed, we just reach out to your office now to get the deed restriction? and
Yep,
then
we'll email it to you.
You'll email it.
And then you would have to get it recorded at the registry of deeds.
Yes, perfect. Thank
Yeah,
you, gentlemen.
before he signs off on the building permit for the occupancy for the new place, that has to get recorded.
Okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you.
And just make sure the plumbing's still tied in inside. If something doesn't work and you need to change anything, just make sure you notify Ed at the Board of Health.
Okay. Alright, next on the agenda is a 2-day temporary food permit for Jeffrey's House of Pizza event at John Pond Park on November 11th and 12th. Ed?
Yep, they're just doing a 2-day permit. They're actually doing it out of the snack shack. It's, all the pizza and other foods will be cooked at their restaurant. I believe it's in Raynham or,
Jeffrey's?
yeah.
It's the old Tascoid House of Pizza on Christian Ave in Bedford.
Right.
The locals will know what that is. I know what that is. It's pretty good. I've been there.
Okay, so they're bringing the pizza in the little warm boxes, so it stays warm and everything. They will be refrigerating some stuff, and the day before, or on Thursday, I believe, I'll inspect the snack shack again. I've inspected before, just make sure the fridge is up to temperature and everything's clean and tidy and there's no, issues. And like I said, they may be serving coffee as well, but that will be brought in from Dunkin' Donuts. cabinets and things like that, all pre-made. Nothing's really being made in the snack shack. It's just a temporary, holding place until they sell it.
I'm fine with it.
You said they had all that food license
Yeah,
and everything need.
yeah, they're a legitimate restaurant, so they have all their certifications, their insurance and everything like that, so there's no issues there.
I'm fine with
I'm
it.
good.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2-day temporary food permit for Jeffrey's House of Pizza at John Pond Park, November 11th and 12th.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next on the agenda is discuss recent Board of Health agent pending items. Anything, Ed?
No, not too much. Like I said, there was one more West Nile, human case of West Nile. Just got the report today. So that's number 6 for the year. Hopefully that's the last one. I mean, we're supposed to get a freeze tonight, so,
It was pretty cold last night too. I mean,
yeah. And we just got the report for the 6th one today, but the person probably contacted it probably 2 weeks ago. So the actual bite took place several weeks ago, but they diagnosed him. Well, we got the report today. So, you know, with the freeze tonight, we should be in good shape, so there should be no issues.
Anything else?
That's it.
I have nothing.
I've got nothing.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.